Nagorno-Karabakh conflict. Battle for control of Nagorno-Karabakh has frequently plunged the South Caucasus into turmoil, but the latest hostilities are threatening to cause a regional humanitarian crisis. With tens of thousands of civilians displaced amid resurgent COVID-19 outbreaks and at the onset of winter, Nagorno-Karabakh is internationally recognized as part of Azerbaijan, but populated by ethnic Armenians who reject Azerbaijani rule and run the territory as a de facto independent state. After the Soviet Union collapsed, a war broke out that ended in 1994 when Armenia forced out Azerbaijan's troops and occupied several territories around the enclave, displacing hundreds of thousands of Azerbaijanis in the process. The conflict is currently on a disastrous trajectory. The previous war was fought over several years and claimed more than 30,000 lives, but nearly 150 civilians and at least 1,200 soldiers have been killed in the last 6 weeks alone. Amid the COVID-19 pandemic and the distraction of the US elections, relief efforts have so far been largely homegrown, even though the scale of the displacement, the destruction, and soaring coronavirus cases pose urgent and longer-term challenges for both countries. According to Armenian Foreign Minister Zorab Natsikanian, more than 90,000 people from Nagorno-Karabakh, 60% of the population, have been displaced since the outset of the war. Azerbaijani missiles and drone strikes have been bombing the territory almost daily, hitting hospitals, churches, and schools. Civilian deaths in the territory stand at around 40, while the Karabakh authorities have announced over 1,200 military losses. The Azerbaijani government has indicated that an additional 40,000 people have been displaced within Azerbaijan. The country does not release military fatalities, but has reported over 90 civilians killed. As well as populated areas around the front line, Azerbaijan's cities have also been hit by Armenian missiles, including a strike on the town of Barda on the 28th of October that reportedly killed at least 21 people, the deadliest civilian incident of the war so far. Zor Shiriev, an analyst for the International Crisis Group based in the Azerbaijani capital, Baku, said aid operations within Azerbaijan have largely been a government-led effort, with support from the Azerbaijani and Turkish Red Crescent, and from the International Committee of the Red Cross. I estimate that more than 150,000 people live within a 10-kilometer range of the line of contact, Shiriev told the New Humanitarian. Pervana Mamedova from Uva, an Azerbaijani Ngo, told TNH that the conflict has also prompted the rare spirit of volunteerism to flourish in the country. Citizens and businesses have been spontaneously donating food, winter clothes, and hygiene items that her volunteers distribute in the border areas and in the badly affected cities of Terter and Barda. She said the Azerbaijani government has provided informal temporary shelter and food for those displaced, but added that other needs are also emerging. Schools were closed recently due to the pandemic and the children had online classes, said Mamedova. In these temporary shelters that isn't possible, so we are trying to provide social workers to distract the children and give the parents a break. Meanwhile, many of those displaced from Nagorno-Karabakh itself are being hosted by friends and family across Armenia. The Armenian government is using a community center in the outskirts of the capital, Yerevan, as a registration and temporary reception facility for those who don't have this option. On a recent visit by TNH, between 100 and 200 people, mainly women, children, and the elderly, lay on rows of camp beds while trying to find news of their friends and family. The mass military mobilization in both countries means most men below the age of 50 are either signing up or being drafted to the front line. Nara Tadevosyan, a psychologist for the Armenian Ministry of Social Welfare and Labor working at the center, told TNH that as well as the more immediate needs, many evacuees in Armenia will have lasting trauma. We try to continue working with them even after they leave the center, Tadevosyan said. Children have seen rockets explode killing their neighbors and ruining their houses. Some are afraid even when they hear the sound of a car passing outside. They think it's a drone coming to bomb them. Volunteers stepping up to help. On the morning of the 27th of September, Lilit Dolakanyan took her young children to the basement as the sounds of explosions rang out around Stepanakert, the de facto capital of Nagorno-Karabakh. For a day they slept on the cement floor without electricity as they anxiously tried to find out if their friends and family were safe. The following day Lilith's husband arranged for them to be evacuated in one of the many cars racing towards the enclave to collect civilians and take them to Yerevan. It was a close call. We left at 3 p.m. and the city was still under artillery fire, Lilith recalled, sitting with her son in a Yerevan hotel run by volunteers. We didn't have time to take many belongings. And we thought that it wouldn't last long. A few days later our neighbor's house was bombed. It's not there anymore. Our windows and doors were blown out. UN assistance hasn't been requested by either country, and the UN has no presence in Nagorno-Karabakh due to the territory's status. While NGO efforts are largely in the planning and assessment stage. In 2017, the US Foreign Aid Department, USAID, reported that civil society organizations in Azerbaijan operate in a severely restrained civic space. Several international organizations are on the ground in Armenia and carrying out needs assessments. But the country is under martial law and they are still awaiting a formal request for help from the government. John McGee, Emergency Response Director for the International Medical Corps in Armenia, told TNH that NGOs are informally liaising. But there is no cluster system for addressing specific needs in place yet. The traditional actors who would normally take the lead are not, and the military infrastructure takes over. So it's understandable that they don't wish to provide full access to and share information with organizations who they don't know, he said.